Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Rewind that. It's your girl, Miss K. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe if you like the vibe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. I know that it's been a while, guys. Yes, it has. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some people that are going to come in because I know that my night owls are out there somewhere. But if you don't catch the replay, guys, I'm going to be talking about The Chi, season 7, episode number 8. I believe it's called A Bet is a Bet. And I'm just going to say this. I know you guys haven't heard my voice as far as The Chi goes and my thoughts and all that stuff. And I really did not plan to go live. And the reason why you don't see me on the camera is because I didn't feel like getting ready for to be in front of the camera. So it was either you see me like this or you don't see me at all or hear me at all. And I really want to talk about this episode, guys. What's up, Faith, Family, and Fun Reviews? How are you, my love? So guys, you've seen the episode. We saw what happened at the end of the episode. OMG, I'm not going to even talk about it right now. What I will say is that I have always told you guys that I'm ready for The Chi to end. That has not changed. We're seeing what they're doing with, a lot of different characters since the beginning of this season. We're seeing how they're removing a lot of people. They've removed Gemma and her dad, and they removed Maisha, and then they removed Kenya, but then they brought Kenya back. Today we saw that not today, but I just saw the episode tonight. But we see in this episode they brought Kenya back, and now we see the situation happening with Emmett. We see in last week's episode that Jada's cancers has come back. So it's like I'm tired of like all the stuff that's going on. They freaking brought Reg back, you know what I mean? And he's wreaking all this kind of havoc and everything, So like I said, I'm no longer surprised or shocked about anything that happens. I was kind of feeling like I wouldn't be surprised if Emmett died. We don't know if he's going to die. We know that Jamal got shot a few episodes ago and he survived, thank God. But we don't know if we're going to get another one of those, another fortunate type of situation, right? So let's just get into it, guys. Okay, we have Darnell, who attends a grieving partners group. He was dropping off Damian to a Gamblers Anonymous group, and as he walks Damian inside because he doesn't trust him, you know what I'm saying? And so he meets Wendy Raquel's character, which I don't remember what her name was, if they ever had her introduce herself as, whatever her character's name was. But, he confesses to her that his wife is still alive, but her cancer came back, and she let him know that, God has the final say. You know what I mean? And that helped kind of uplift him and everything. Hey, Cinder One, kind of helped uplift him and everything, which was nice. But I really wish that Jada would have the same kind of attitude of being optimistic like that. But she just tells Darnell that she's tired, And listen, only the people out there that understand what it's like to fight that disease or fight for their lives can really say anything about that, the people that are with them and want them to fight and want them to hold on, that's another story, you know what I mean? Because you want your loved one to want to fight, but you also don't know how it feels for them to fight. It could just be really hard and just so much suffering and pain, you know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of like, who's going to be unselfish, right? Are the loved ones going to be unselfish and say, hey, we don't want this person, we have to let them go because we don't want them to, suffer anymore, which is very hard to do? Or is it the person that's fighting the disease to be unselfish and say, I just don't want to leave my family, I at least want to show them that I fought. It's just such a hard, devastating type of situation to be in, which is why I wouldn't ever try to, have an opinion on it, really. You know what I'm saying? Because who wants to be in that type of situation? It was cool to see Wendy Raquel. I forgot her last name. I don't know if it's Thomas or Robbins. I forgot. But it was cool to see her there. In a way, it almost makes me feel like they either just threw her in there so that Darnell could go to a group like that after Jada dies, or, you know, during the time that Jada is still alive, because she did let him know that there's a group on Wednesdays for people that are, you know, having terminal illnesses and stuff like that, that they have, spouses of people with terminal illnesses, right? That he would need some type of support during this time, these last days with Jada, you know, or is she going to be a new love interest? You know what I'm saying? But I just kind of feel like it's too soon to just be already pointing him into a direction of a new love interest, you know? So I'm like, oh, slow down on that. It's too quick for me and insensitive, I think. And I don't know, like I said, just moving too fast, right? What else was I going to say? Yeah, I didn't like that whole thing. So I don't know where they're going with that. We don't know if we're going to see that character again, but we shall see. Okay, speaking of new characters, we've seen Felicia Rashad. She's making her appearance as Kenya's grandma Renee. Okay, like I said, Kenya moves back to the Shy and invites Papa and Pastor Zeke over for dinner. And it was a freaking interesting dinner. It seems like there's like this trend now in these shows where families are, you know, having dinner and there's always some crap going on, right? There's always some very interesting, dramatic type of topics happening over the dinner table. There's never really like a peaceful conversation. It's more like it's dramatic, or they're spilling some tea. You know what I'm saying? Spilling tea, beans, and all of that. Cinder One says, looks like a love interest, but I agree too soon. Right. Definitely looks like a love interest. That's the vibe that I'm getting. And I'm not agreeing with it. I really don't like it at all. I don't see why we couldn't have Jada to live happily ever after with her man. Like, she's been single all this time. You know, she explored her little youngin' Suede and everything like that. But, you know, for her to go through everything that she's been through in life and then to get back with Darnell after he done grew up and changed, why can't they have their happily ever after? You know what I'm saying? Like, why? I just think, and look, people can argue and say, hey, that's life, you know, whatever. But at the end of the day, yes, that's life. But the Shy just doesn't seem to paint that kind of picture of life. They don't seem to give too much hope that life can actually be happy and it can actually end well. Like, they're always like bringing tragedy, you know, when people finally try to, you know, find their way, even with Ronnie trying to find his way and finally doing something good and all of this stuff. Like, it's always ending bad. You know what I mean? Like, it's just freaking ridiculous at this point, guys. What's up to Nat Grayson and JT and Deborah? Ammons. You know, I just don't like it, guys. JT says, hello, Miss K. The Shy never waits. Everyone jumps into a relationship too quickly on the show. Right. How can Bakari's loan money and sleeping on Knuck's? Oh, how can Bakari loan money and he's sleeping on Knuck's couch? Yeah, I get it, but he's also still making money. You know what I mean? What's up, Starring Toya? He's also making money at the same time. And it seems like Knuck is just kind of doing him a favor to, you know, just get his life together without kind of putting Bakari in a situation where he has to pay rent and make money, you know what I'm saying, and go after his dreams and be in school and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's just me guessing that's how that is, you know what I mean? But he is making money with Knuck, so I understand that's the reason why he was able to do that for Damian. But yeah, guys, so back to this dinner table. I was really I liked Felicia Rashad's appearance. You know, I love her so much. I feel like she always plays these very strong and fierce type of characters, you know. Like, even if she's gonna be she's always like sophisticated, you know what I mean? And the way she reads is just amazing. It's like goals, you know what I'm saying? But I like seeing Pastor Zeke and her. At some point I was wondering, like, when she first came, because Kenya kept saying my grandma, she moved in and all that stuff. He was like, what? You know what I'm saying? But the way he respects her so much, Pastor Zeke, the way he respects Renee so much almost made me wonder, like, he almost seemed like he looking at her like that's his mother. But then I had to remember his mother's the one that lived down south somewhere, and that's where Kenya just came back from. You know what I'm saying? But I just liked the dynamic. I like the respect and everything. You kind of see Pastor Zeke in a different light. I honestly am starting to like Pastor Zeke. I didn't like him at first. I feel like he's still not a good man of God, but it's showing him in a lot. It's showing him in a different light. You know what I'm saying? And yes, during their conversation, they kept talking about him being with this white woman. And it was like, Kenya was like, I don't see nothing wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? And then I think Papa was saying the same thing, but they like, yeah, well, that's because you came from a different era. You know what I mean? And Renee brings it up like, white women have been the downfall of many a black men. And I hope we don't have to add you to that list. You know what I'm saying? There were people that were lynched for, messing with white women back in the day. And they brought up Emmett Till and, things of that nature. So it's a lot. It means a lot. What am I trying to say? It means something totally different from one generation to the next. Right. And so it was good for the kids to hear it from their grandmother's perspective. And then you also had Zeke telling his ex-wife that it had not, like, him leaving her for a white woman, or or being with a white woman, had nothing to do with her. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was kind of interesting. It was nice to even see Kenya's mother and everything like that. And so, just to see the type of woman that he used to be with, and now he's with this little Tatiana that he married, and she's a freaking first lady, and it's just a hot mess in the pulpit. And it's kind of like, it just seems like it would have been better for him to stay with Carolyn, who seemed to be more wholesome. But at the same time, we find out that she also cheated on him. So it's a hot mess, and everybody's not perfect or anything like that. But it doesn't seem like she was out there doing everything that Tatiana is doing. So, but he's just not really showing himself as a true man of God. He's out here. There's scandal after scandal, and it's just looking pretty freaking terrible. You know what I'm saying? So, where are you going? Hold on, everyone. Sorry. Yep. Sorry about that, guys. My son came in for a second. What was I saying? Let me see what you guys are saying first. Yes, the conversation about black men leaving for white women is a strong topic. Especially, Deborah says, especially our athletes marrying snow bunnies, right? It's just seems like to be all like we're just never enough. It always seems, right? Rashonda Greer, how's it going? And Stephen Harris, hey, just seems like, sometimes I really want to know what it is. What's it all about? Why some black men prefer white women? Like, what's the issue? What's the problem? Why do some of them make it seem like that's the best way to go, or like black women are not good enough? You know what I'm saying? Just don't understand it. And it's, I don't know. I think it's a lot deeper than what would actually be said or confessed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even think they really understand it. But whatever, folks. Now, some people really fall in love, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But to make it a choice or a preference all the time. I feel like there's something there with that. But anywho, y'all. So guys, Detective Tucson meets with Knuck and uses their mutual love for their sons to pull on his heartstrings. Okay, like she wants to see a picture of the baby and all that. He got it right on his, right on the screen of his phone, right? So I'm just like, oh, that's very sweet. I love how much Knuck loves his son Ronnie. Okay, so after sitting down with Pastor Zeke, because you know that Pastor Zeke has been counseling Knuck, I guess, and I'm not gonna lie, I feel like Zeke does give Knuck good advice sometimes. Okay. But the advice he gives him is basically telling him this time that you might want to consider getting some type of protection from the cops, because they can protect gangsters better than they protect civilians. Okay. So Knuck takes this and he sits down with Detective Tucson again, and he tells her that he wants in. But she gives him a little twist. She's like, okay, before she came real humble, right? But now that she got him to play along with everything, she was on some, well, you're gonna have to befriend him and everything. And he's like, well, I'm not friends with him, I don't F with him, this and that. And she was like, well, that's too bad. She started talking a little heavy at some point, like, that's too bad, you better figure it out or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I am paraphrasing and everything, but like she switched up on him. So he has to befriend Reggie, guys. Let's see how he's going to do this. I mean, we've seen him lie to Alicia about who deleted her son, Rob. Okay, we see him smiling up in Tiff's face and, you know what I'm saying, being all kind and nice and gentle. And I believe it's genuine, honestly. I think he really does care for Tiff. We even see him talking. We've seen him talking to Pastor Zeke about it. You know what I'm saying? Afraid that Tiff will, turn on him if she tells him the truth and even possibly delete him. You know what I'm saying? At least he's not stupid enough to sleep on anyone and not think that Tiff would delete him. Like, at least he's not dumb like that. But I say all that to say, guys, we've seen him, wear two faces. So we know that Knuck has it in him to befriend Reggie if he needs to, so that he can take him down. But after seeing what happens at the end of this episode, we might not need him, because I'm pretty sure that Keisha won't have an issue with saying who the heck shot her man. I'm pretty sure she won't care. You know what I'm saying? We Reggie might have just put himself in the jail. And Knuck is not needed, but we'll see. Okay, we're gonna talk about that later on. Now, guys, thankfully, like I said, Jamal is alive. Okay, but his brush with death makes him want to have children. Okay, it's causing him to think, like, made me realize that I ain't have nobody to leave behind, no legacy, no nothing. And he tells Dom that he wants children, and she said, but I don't want no kids. And we heard her say this to the Sister Circles group, like scenes earlier, saying, look, I'm happy with not having no kids. I just never had the desire to want to be a parent. I love my man, I love my body, I love myself. You know what I'm saying? Sounding very, honestly, I don't care that she doesn't want kids, but her adding that she loves her body, it just made it sound very like selfish. It just made it sound like she was just all about herself. You know what I'm saying? If she could have left that part out about loving her body, I would have been cool with her not wanting kids. It just made her sound super selfish, like she's just into herself and I don't want nothing messing up my body and all of this. Like, I just thought that was real stupid. There are women out there that don't want kids, and that's totally fine. Like, there's men out there that don't want kids. That's totally fine. I don't see anything wrong with that at all. Okay. But the reasons that she gave was like, ew, girl, super superficial. Okay. But it's so funny that we hear her express this to the Sister Circle, which only had who was hosting? Keisha was hosting, but Jada, she wasn't there because she wasn't feeling well. And and only Tracy was there as well. So it was only 3 women there. Okay. And she was just expressing it to them. And they was like, okay, girl, that's fine. So now she gets home and her man is talking to her. And I'm talking about Dom. And he's like, I want kids. And she's like, I don't want kids. And it's with like kind of like an attitude too. Like, I wish that she would have said it to him with more compassion. But she was just like very, I do not want kids. Okay. Like, no. And he was like, did you ever tell me that? And she was like, no, I never got a chance to tell you that. It's something that they never talked about. And, that's kind of what happens too when you get married too fast. Like, I know there's a lot of people that have gotten married fast, and I don't really see anything wrong with it if the circumstances are right. Sometimes people don't understand it. And, when you're spending so much time with somebody, getting to know someone, that is what happens. It happens, right? But in their case, I'm not sure if they did that. And it's kind of clear that they didn't, because I think that's one thing that you should talk about is having children or not wanting to have children, right? I spoke about this earlier in the season when it came to Marcus and Tiana. Was her name Tiana? Tiara. The fact that they never spoke about whether they wanted more kids or not, or whether she wanted kids and he didn't. I was like, that was really something that should have taken place very, very early on. I'm talking about maybe the second conversation, if not the first. You know what I'm saying? Because that's something that got to be clear from the gate so that you can know, okay, let's not waste each other's time because you want kids and I don't, or vice versa. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So for Dom and Jamal to get married, not knowing if either one of them wanted to have children, that was something that was very they dropped the ball on that one. So we'll see what happens with that. You know what I mean? Let's see what else we're gonna talk about, folks. Okay, guys, Trig, he takes Tiff out to a concert, right? And when he brings her back home, they share a kiss. And of course, Alicia is there to see it. Okay. So now, Trig is home and he's talking to Rashad about it and everything. Rashad is like, what's up with you and Tiff, blah, blah, blah. And he's telling, listen, we kissed and all that. So Rashad is like, yo, you need to go talk to Emmett about this situation. Okay. That's what you need to do. Like, for real, you think I need to talk to her and everything? He would Keisha, you know what I'm saying? And Shad is like, so what if he with Keisha? I don't see no ring on that finger, you know what I mean? Like, oh snap. So, and he's like, it's not gonna be cool. Shad is telling Trig, it's not gonna be cool if you go ahead and you show up to their house with Tiff on your arm, which is true. And you guys are in the brother circle or whatever the heck, the men's circle, whatever the heck that the thing is called, right? So y'all need to talk about this, okay? So he goes, after talking to Shad, Trig decides to tell Emmett about his connection with Tiff. And guys, Emmett appeared to be taking it well in Trig's eyes, right? But we see something totally different. We see that Emmett is definitely taking it not that well. And this is not the first time that we've seen Emmett not taking the news well of concerning anything with Tiff. Like, when she was with Rob, it was fine. But when he found out, so Rob is dead and gone. When he finds out that she's pregnant, it was a problem. It was like, yo, what the heck? You know what I'm saying? And then now that she's kind of like moving on with, or, looks like she's moving on with Trig. And then Trig was like, yo, we not boyfriend and girlfriend or nothing like that. Plus, there's other people gunning for her and stuff like that. And what's his name was like, Emmett, like, who else? Like, who else gunning for her? You talking about Knuck, So it's like, oh my God. And, Trig is just like, I don't give a daggone about Knuck. You know what I mean? I really don't care about Knuck. I ain't worried about him, and Emmett is like, oh, so you just trying to get your shot first, huh? He trying to really play it cool, but you can tell he is bothered. Okay. And guys, there was an episode a few weeks ago where you had Tiff and Keisha talking about Knuck, her spending time with Knuck, Tiff spending time with Knuck, and Keisha kind of like took her glasses off real quick, like what the heck going on? And they was talking about, I just don't want to confuse things. I think that's what Tiff said, guys. I didn't review that episode, so I don't know. I don't remember, but I think Tiff is like, I just don't want to confuse things. You know what I'm saying? And Keisha was like, things are already confused, or confusing or whatever, like their whole love octagon at this point. Forget about love triangles, love squares and rectangles and things that it's a freaking octagon at this point, y'all, when it comes to the freaking shy. Like, it started with Emmett and Tiff, and it's spread out so freaking much that I'm gonna have to get a daggone diagram to show the connection of these freaking relationships. I really want to see if I can do that, and I don't know if I can. I'm gonna try, y'all, because I need to have a little fun with this. It's freaking ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So so it's not just Emmett that has an issue with Tiffany moving along. Keisha might have some issues with Knuck being with Tiff. Okay, she might. I just would not be surprised. Okay, guys. I thought that it was kind of funny for Shad to tell Trig that he needs to be careful about Knuck because Knuck is the killer. And I'm like, bro, I know you gotta be joking, right? Because that's from one killer to another. Like, how are you gonna sit there and tell Trig that Knuck is a killer? Oh, he said Knuck kills people for fun. That's what he said. He said he'd be killing niggas for fun, And Trig is just like, please, and I love the fact that Trig don't have to boast about what he do. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't. He just knows who he is. I ain't worried about that man or anything. Y'all remember him even pressing Trig at one point when him and Imani was still together. So, he ain't never scared any daggone way. So, but I just thought that was an interesting little comment, as if Trig is some kind of civilian. I mean, he's a civilian now, but he's not a stranger to the streets. So that was kind of funny. Let me see what else. Let me see what you guys are talking about first before I move on. Hey, LSW. They didn't talk about this before marriage, right? Which was interesting. CJC says Emmett is fine. Why is she at Sister Circle discussion and her husband just got out the hospital? Right. I guess she's claiming she needed a little break. You know what I'm saying? It was nice for her to take a break from changing bandages and all that stuff. I think that's kind of what the Sister Circle is all about, kind of getting a little breather from the daily stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know, guys. Damian got to go. I'm tired of him. I'm absolutely freaking tired of him, guys. Absolutely. Hate the fact that they made Emmett so drunk he was dumb enough to go to Reg's house and attack him like that. No welcome back or anything. Right. That was very, very ridiculous and stupid, and I did not see it coming, not gonna lie. Again, moving too fast. She just lost her dude, and Trig girl just left town. Right. But Trig, has been moving fast ever since Imani left, you know what I mean? And that's not even his fault. That's just the shy for you, So, and JT said that Emmett was pissed. That's why he kept drinking. Right. That's a very great point. He was pissed about what Trig told him. And it's so funny how this whole thing just happened about Trig going over there telling him about his kiss with Tiff. And that sparked it all off, which ended up in him being shot. That's crazy. Wow. He was dumb to rush and not date enough and get to know her well enough that she doesn't want kids. Yeah, like certain things were just crazy. So Victor back to liking real women. I mean, I don't even know if we can say back to, you know what I'm saying? Because I think that when the first season where he was introduced, I think there was some type of excuse me, I think there was some type of like hinting that he always dated trans women. If I'm like, I feel like there was some type of hinting at that. So the fact that he's dating a woman this time might be his first, but I really don't know. You know what I'm saying? I really, really don't know, guys. Reg and Brandon was always the GOAT when the shy lose its color from season 1 and 2. Every episode, the scenes are dark color now. Speaking of that, thank you for saying that. I do want to say that in this episode, I kind of appreciated the cinematography, especially when it came to the scene with Detective Tucson and Knuck. I thought that there was just something about that scene that it didn't look like the regular scenes from The Chi. It was like it looks like it was shot a little differently and stuff like that. Like, I'm not like a true freaking, film person, but I liked the way it looked, Okay, let's see what else, guys. All right, so we got that, guys. So let's talk about Damian. He goes to Gambling Anonymous. He goes to a meeting, and he doesn't take it seriously at all. He sees Karuchi's character there, and he's making eyes with her, starts making faces and all this stuff, not really respecting someone's story that's sharing at the time. He goes and he screws Karuchi in the bathroom. Then later, he makes a stupid bet with Reg for 5 racks. Okay, which he loses, as we all know, right? Hannibal has been there, guys, to warn Damian a few times. Like, not just this episode, in the last episode, like, he's telling him, walk away, don't exchange, no free. He like, get out. You know what I'm saying? Like, when he came to drop off Hannibal's money in the last episode, Reggie was there, and Damian started talking to Reggie and all that stuff, and about just betting on sports and just different things that he bets on. And Hannibal was like, all right, you could leave, Ninja, like, go, get out. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to keep him away from Reggie because he knows that Reggie is trouble. Okay. I like how Hannibal stood on business about his own money. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't play with me about my money because I already told you that you shouldn't have made that bet, but you didn't listen. You're not about to make me suffer for it. So give me my money. You know what I'm saying? But when he came around Reg, he was trying to really save this kid, but he just would not listen. And so, like I said, Hannibal's been there to warn him. He tried to warn him in this episode. And Damian, he's just hard-headed. And on top of being hard-headed, he's also cocky. So that's a very, very terrible and dangerous mix. He's like he kind of gets very like antagonistic, you know what I'm saying, when he's winning, and it will make anybody want to beat the hell out of him, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? But even after Damian borrows money from Dom, Bakari, and Jada, he's still short, okay? And Reg beats the crap out of him to the point where Hannibal has to step in and stop it, thankfully, okay? And of course, worst of all, guys, he goes home, he runs out, he goes home, he comes home with his face all bloody, then this and that. And automatically, Emmett goes into big brother mode, like, who did this to you? And he's like, Reg did it. And he's like, what? I thought that ninja was dead. So he, like, where does he live? He's like, oh, it's at Jake's crib. Like, and my thing is, Bakari just finished telling Damian that Reggie was a killer. Why the hell would you why would you even tell your brother that you know where Reggie live if you cared about his life? If anything, you might as well continue to freaking lie, just like you be lying about every daggone thing else, and tell him, I don't know where he lives, okay? Like, I don't even know. I met him somewhere or something, like, like, do something, because that was ridiculous for him. Like, this little boy just came on this show, came into Emmett's life and everything. You stealing from him. You freaking, coming up into the he got you a job, and now you got a gambling problem, and you're coming into his household. You're asking Jada for money, who's dying. Like, she's dying, and you're gonna go ask her for money. Like, he's a problem. So he's coming onto this show bringing a whole bunch of problems, and I knew that was going to happen, but they kind of, when I say the writers, they kind of made it seem like he was going to have a real problem with Keith. And Keith actually wound up being kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? We see in last week's episode, he got Keith fired because Keith gave him some bad advice, telling him you need to just borrow the money from your brother. Don't tell him, but pay it back. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, you can't tell somebody that has a gambling problem to do something like that. You know what I mean? Because they don't know how to pay no freaking money back. They're always in debt. They're always owing somebody because they have a freaking sickness. And especially if they feel like they could continue to keep getting the money, they're going to keep placing bets. It's ridiculous. They're going to keep on placing bets and keep on being in debt until somebody take them off this daggone planet, or they really get the help that they need, or something they land in jail or something like that. Something drastic has to freaking happen. You know what I mean? Or they lose everything and they wind up being a bum on the street, But I don't know, guys. I'm tired. I'm tired of Damian. I listen, this kid that plays Damian, I like him because he's from this show called On My Block. My kids watch it. I don't watch it, but every now and then, like when they were watching it, I would be there and I would just be standing there watching questions and things of that nature. And he's so cute on that show, and so I feel like his character is kind of cute on this show as well. But the fact that he now has this gambling problem and it's he's sucking everybody in, you know what I'm saying, into his world. And it's just very dangerous. And it's like, yo, you just found out that your stepmom is dying. You saw your father crying. You see that there's so much going on. Why are you doing this? But at the same time, you can't ask an addict those type of logical questions because they don't think logically. The sickness takes over and they don't care about anything but themselves and but feeding that monster that's inside of them. That's just how it is. And it's sad. You can't get through to them. Anyway, guys. So it's very, very freaking sad. Did you say that? Jay? Yeah, definitely a sickness, Let me see what else you guys are talking about. So let's just do this real quick. So now Emmett goes over to Reggie's house. Well, not really Reggie's house, technically Jake's apartment. And he just knocks on the door. Hannibal is gone, and Reggie puts his gun, in the back of his waist, So Emmett comes through the door, starts beating on freaking Reggie. Reggie's telling him, stop, Emmett. You know what I'm saying? He owed me money, this and that. And so Reggie's like, I don't care. I'm sorry, not Reggie. Emmett's like, I don't care, this and that. Listen, Emmett was going ham. I was like, oh, wow. So Reggie pulls his gun out and he shoots Emmett, and when he stood up over him, I was really kind of hoping that he wouldn't stand over him and like finish him off, but I was just like, oh gosh, like I don't know what the heck is going on, guys. Somebody put in the chat that Emmett is not gone, and I said earlier that I don't know if they're going to do it 2 times to us where we got Jamal, who we could have lost. And it would have been really nothing. Not to say I didn't care about Jamal. I liked him. But if he would have died, I think it would have been messed up that they would have killed him off. But it wouldn't have been like a crazy loss. You know what I'm saying? To save him and then turn around and delete Emmett off, or have Emmett be shot and then save him as well. I would be kind of surprised if the Chi did that. I would. I would be surprised if the Chi did that. Okay. But at the same time, if they did, whatever. At this point, guys, I don't care anymore. Like if they're killing off Jada, I don't really care. I don't feel like I have any connection to anybody anymore. because of the way the show is being written and the way they have already painted a clear narrative that nobody gets a happy ending. The only person that got a happy ending was Kev, and I'm glad for that. If that's all they could give me, okay, fine, I'm glad. But I'm not about to sit here and really give a damn anymore about what happens to these characters anymore, because I just don't feel like there's anything good that's going to happen. I don't feel like there's anything good that's going to happen to Bakari. I don't even know if Jake is safe. Like, I just don't know anymore. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't really know. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a freaking show. But at the same time, it's just like there's no hope. And I don't know if that's the kind of picture that they're trying to paint and try to say that, you know what I'm saying, if you're from the Chi, there's no happy endings. That's not true. You know, there are actors on this show that come from the Chi, and they are living testaments to how you can make it out of there. So for them to freaking act like it can't happen, is super annoying to me. And I don't want to sound like a freaking broken record, but I'm saying this again because I don't know if Emmett is dead. You know, where he was shot at, it looks like the bullet missed his heart. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. And I think honestly, if the mother's dying, what's her name, Jada, if she's dying and her son dies, like, that ain't gonna do nothing but make this woman die faster. You know what I'm saying? And what about Darnell? Let's just say that Emmett dies. Darnell loses a child, and then months later loses the love of his life. Like, that is freaking horrible, y'all. That is freaking horrible. So, I mean, I was gonna say, like, I can't wait to see what's gonna happen in the next episode, but I can wait. I really can, because I didn't rush to this episode. I ain't rushed to this episode. I just watched it tonight. So and it came out Thursday night, technically Friday morning. I didn't rush. So I could wait, you know. I mean, like I said, at this point, I guess I'm just here to see what the heck is gonna happen and then give y'all my opinion on it. Cause it's just dumb at this point. Like, it's just freaking dumb. I don't like how they are trying to give Darnell a new love interest, right? Like, I don't like that either. I don't like that. Starring Toya says, is Kevin coming back this season? I hope not. Stay gone, please. Please stay gone. Mess around and they bring his freaking behind back and kill him. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Leave that baby alone. Leave him alone. Maisha done went to join him. Leave it alone. Miss K hit it on the head. They saying it's Chicago. We don't have happy endings here. Right. That's what it sounds like to me. That's exactly what it sounds like to me, because it don't, it just don't look like it. Not at all. You know, not at all. But yeah, come on, you know, when Reg stood over Emmett, he was sad and didn't want to do it. Him and Brandon was like older brothers to Emmett. Damian needs to go. Yeah, I was wondering. It did look like he didn't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? It did. And my thing is, at the same time, I really don't care if it looked like he didn't want to do it, because at the end of the day, he didn't have to. Emmett didn't have no gun. You know what I'm saying? And Reg, stop acting like you can't throw hands with Emmett. That's the only thing you could do to get him off you. Like, come on now. That's the only thing you could do. So at the end of the day, that whole standing over him, looking like he didn't want to do this and that, my guy, you already did it, and you did not have to shoot him. You really didn't. This is not someone, if he did look at him like he was an older brother, then why'd you do that? You know, but at the same time, we're talking about Reg. We saw how terrible he's been treating his little brother, somebody who's his baby brother, somebody who is his blood. Okay. What he did to what's his name? What the freak is that little boy named? To Jake, his little girlfriend that he came in there with. took her in the room, screwed her and all that. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so messed up. But I like how Jake finally, stuck up for himself, because I was really concerned about Jake, and I felt bad for Jake because I felt like he was trapped in this situation, and I knew he didn't want to be there. And I kind of feel like I know he wanted Trig to save him, because Trig would be texting him like, "Are you okay, bro?" and all of this stuff, and he'd just be like, "I'm good," And it was like he was under Reggie's like reign, and rule. Like he was just being bullied by him. So that situation needed to happen so that Jake could get tired of him. He rocked them real quick, and of course, Reggie beat him up or whatever. But I'm glad that Trig came home. I'm sorry, not Trig. I'm glad that, I'm glad that Trig came there and got him. Like, what the heck is you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, he coming with me. Now, are you really gonna leave me? What about what Mama said? No, bro. And they forget about what Mama said. You can't be talking about what Mama said, but you don't even know how to be a good brother so that y'all can honor what your mother said. You want to be a mama's boy so bad. She said take care of each other, and that's not taking care of each other. Okay. Now, the fact that Trig told him that if something happens, I'm gonna kill you. You know what I'm saying? If you do something happen with the baby brother, I'm gonna kill you. And I've been saying this, y'all. I've been saying that if something happens to Jake, it's going to reactivate Trig. Yes, it's Vic right now. It's going to reactivate Trig. And I would hate to see him actually delete his brother Reg, if something happens to the little brother. I would hate to see that, but I could see it happening. And then at the same time, I could see him, going to do it and then stopping. You know what I'm saying? And maybe just like, putting him in jail, or I don't know, giving him over to somebody. I really don't know, y'all. I don't freaking know, man. Oh, it's just annoying at this point. Let me read some comments because I'm pretty much done whatever I was saying. Oh, there was something that I wanted to say a while ago, right, guys? It has to do with a few episodes ago. It's kind of like a scratching my head moment, and I thought it was so stupid. Remember when Ronnie got hurt and he was in the hospital? He broke his little arm and this and that. When Emmett and Keisha went home, they was talking about paying for the hospital bill and everything like that. And it was like, paying for the freaking hospital bill? First of all, y'all should have insurance. Why don't y'all have insurance? Like, that part right there got me. You don't have insurance, guys? Emmett make that much money? Okay. And Keisha don't work, like, so I'm just trying to figure out why this baby don't have no insurance. And even if they did make that much money, a lot of times they still have insurance for kids. So yeah, that was a little dumb to me, that talking about the freaking hospital bill. And then you also have Knuck, who is a drug dealer making all this money. Why is the discussion of a freaking hospital bill even a topic? You feel me? Like, no. If we didn't have insurance and the baby father is a drug dealer, be like, all right, here you go. This is what the bill is. Boom. Take care of it. That's it. What? Anyway, I just wanted to talk about that. I just thought that was really stupid. All right. Let's see. Starring Toy says, I hope the next season is the last season. Me too. JT said Reg couldn't take that A whooping. Reg was beating down Damian without any problems. Right. It's crazy. Emmett was going to delete him. They said it in the discussion table on YouTube. The writers wrote it like that to understand the battle with that. I'm not really following what you were saying. They wrote it like that to understand the battle with that. The battle with what? I'm not clear. Jake did that to Kevin. Remember, Reg was his karma. He will be all right. He definitely will be all right, which is the reason why I said what I said. Like, it had to happen only because he needed to be rescued from underneath Reggie's thumb. Because Reg was, he was just being a bully. He got his brother in all kinds of situations. His little brother is out here trying to make money in a clean way, You know what I'm saying? Selling clothes, doing something that he finally likes and everything like that. And he's discouraging it. Oh, nobody care about that little week A clothing line or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just not cool. So he really needed to be rescued. So I feel like that situation had to happen. LSW says Jake's face is now on that ATM, but hopefully that won't come back. Right. We shall see. You know, Detective Tucson, she's on it. No, the writer's just doing this. Y'all forgetting season 1 and 2, Reg made Jake stay out the streets and focus on school. Was an older brother to Brandon and Papa too. It's the writing. No, Reggie was never good. Never. Never, ever, ever. Ever. It was horrible, actually. And that's one thing that I definitely remember when I compared and did a compare and contrast between Reg and Trig when they so-called killed Reggie off and then brought in Trig. You saw how loving and protective that of you know how Trig was over Jake compared to Reggie. Like Reggie sucked always and still does. You know what I'm saying? He owns the company and doesn't have insurance. Right. It's ridiculous. The battle, I guess the battle of shooting someone you don't want to shoot to save your life. That's the details they want people to talk about. Oh, okay. Okay. Did Reg put the detective's son in jail? We need that story. Let's see. Duda actually took Jake off the streets. Right. Duda's the one that had him in school and kind of, took over with that. It was definitely Duda. So Jake, Reg was just freaking horrible. He would do things in front of Reg and Reg would do things in front of Jake, and try to also embarrass him or trying to you can tell that if he would have stayed with Reggie, he would have been involved in the streets because that's exactly the type of stuff that he was showing him and trying to, make him, I guess, not make him a punk or make him be a part of it or, you know what I mean? There was a scene where he had him with a gun or something like that. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but he had him doing something that he should not have been doing. So yeah, Reg has not been a good brother at all. Reg's character can go. I don't care if they brought him back. It's just a waste of time. I feel like it's a waste of time too. I don't really understand what the heck is going on. And I feel like toward the end, of whatever season, I guess it was season 2 where Reg died, I started to like him toward the end. I don't remember why I started to like him, but to be honest with you, I don't care why I started to like him because I want him to go now. It kind of feels like he picked up where he left off as far as before I liked him. You know what I'm saying? When he was a jerk. And I really I'm not enjoying this. I'm not enjoying the character at all. I'm not. I like Barton. You know what I'm saying? I do like him, the actor. And I'm glad that he's had this opportunity to come back. I am. But I'm not enjoying what they're doing with the character. You know what I'm saying? I'm not at all. So I do feel like it's a waste of time. I feel like they should have really did this with Brandon instead. But because of the fact that they had they showed a funeral for Brandon, there's no way they can bring him back. You know what I'm saying? And they could spin the story more with Reggie than they could spin with Brandon. And there you go with that. Whatever. You could always be creative though. Oh gosh. JT, what happened to the big bosses of the 63rd mob? They decided who controls the streets. Yeah. And I think one of those people was that Duda who was in jail or something and he came home? I don't remember, guys. It's too far back for me, It's too far back for me. But that's pretty much that, guys. We don't know what the heck is gonna go on when it comes to this guy Emmett. But there were some things that took place a few episodes ago. There were some things that were being said, and I felt like Emmett's death was looming, you know. And like I said, I'm not saying he's dead. I just don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. And I think it's freaking shocking for this to be happening on this episode 8, you know. But what else do I want to say? Oh, with Jada supposedly dying, I could see Keisha having a girl this time, and they're naming her Jada. I could see that. What else? And yeah, I don't know, y'all. It is what it is. Anyway, guys, it was good being back. Please hit the like button. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Shout out to all the night owls, JT in the building, CJC, Stephen Harris. I know Rashonda Greer was here. Hey, pretty girl, let's check content. My girl, you up late, booski boo. Who else? LSW, starring Toya. Tanette Grayson was here. Deborah Ammons or Ammons. I don't want to say your name wrong. I apologize. I said Rashonda Greer, right? Cinder 1, Faith Family Fun Reviews. There was a few low riders. You know what I'm saying? I just appreciate you all, guys. And listen, if I'm trying to get back into the groove of things. I miss you guys so much. If I have to come on like this, where I don't need to set everything up in my little studio and just be like this for the time being, then I will. Because if I don't, then I probably won't show up. And I don't want to not show up, guys, okay? Because I'm really trying to get back into the groove of things and all that good stuff, you know. So, guys, I will talk to you next time. And, share the video and catch the replay and all that good stuff. Take care. Be blessed. Bye-bye. Oh, JT asked me if I saw any good movies lately. No, I haven't, but I will be talking about some things that I have watched. Don't worry, okay? Take care. Bye, guys.